What's up, everybody? Welcome to part 2 of week 6 of the Game Mates podcast. My name is Jack Valentine, and I'm joined, as always, by Mr. Duncan Chalmers.
That's me.
There is no one else.
But actually, I've Google searched. There's a couple others.
Yeah, if you Google search Jack Valentine, one picture of Ethan Hawke comes up because that was his character's name in Lord of War, which is a pretty okay Nicolas Cage movie. There's also some old guy who's like an F1 manager.
Still sick.
Still sick. Apart from the obvious clues and giveaways, this is a few minutes after the last part. Spoilers for how things work in the real world. But you're seeing it later because that's how we do our content. If you weren't aware, this is the Game Mates weekly podcast. We are on week 6 right now. We split our episodes up into 3 parts and we distribute them over the course of the week with different topics in each one.
This one's the spookiest one we've ever done.
This is the Spooptacular 6.2. So, we've been talking a lot about what we want to bring around after the huge sort of focus on PlayStation's upcoming conference. And we've you kind of threw some ideas back and forth with me with some sort of skimmed over games from Gamescom. You obviously had your big hitters, you had your Battlefields, you had your Titanfalls, you had your South Farts.
Fractured buttholes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Broken butts.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about the Holy Trinity, or should I say
Unholy. We should have made it 6. But it's episode 6, and we're doing 3 of them, so that's 666. Satan is confirmed.
Illuminati Satan. Tell me what you got.
I'm going to talk about the one that I know the least about, that you know a few details about.
Sure.
Little Nightmares.
Yes.
Which was originally under a different title that I can never remember the name of. Pardon? Hunger. Yes.
It was. Tarsier Studio.
Little Nightmares looks really tense and just like, I think the best word for that one would be uncomfortable. I think the content is designed to just make you think, holy shit, there's a lot of terrible things going on around the world. We saw, I think it was about a 10-minute clip at Gamescom.
Something like that.
Started in a bedroom, you move around a house. It's just,
yeah. Well,
you're really small.
Yeah, you're in like a giant underwater thing. It's like a weird sort of factory underwater, and
which, like,
there's like, I think the whole idea of the game is that you're gonna experience childhood fears. So
I've done enough of that.
Yeah,
personally.
no, I know. Like, I think it's about like what is under the bed at night and what's that the squealing pipes that you hear in the middle of the night, and just like that sort of thing. And the vibe that I love the style. Tarsier is a great studio. They actually, the last thing that I know that they did was the Little Big Planet Vita game. Okay, which was fantastic. And
that's so incredibly opposite in feel, but familiar in setting.
Exactly, yeah.
And that's, now that you say that, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
And it's funny because for their Little Big Planet, it was... the Vita one was fantastic, but it had this peculiarly kind of like better sense of scale than the other ones did, because the other ones were just built like, you're in this level and everything's just like maybe a bit bigger but the same size. There were a lot of levels in that one that were like, you're this tiny little thing moving through a giant world. So it almost makes sense that this is where they go with it. And I'm sure they're probably going to have physics like in Little Big Planet 2, which will make for some interesting puzzle solving.
But can I change my face to really cry?
Probably not.
No.
But maybe
on my own.
Yeah. Maybe that would be like an Easter egg somewhere. But no, it does look spectacular. The thing that scares me the most, I think, is either the kitchen with the horrifying big fat chefs that are like chopping they're like zucchinis or pickles up.
Are they? Or are they like demonic possessed cucumbers?
Well, that is what a pickle is. A dead, disgusting cucumber that a lot of North Americans seem to decide are good things to eat.
Yeah, the pickling process over here is very different than what you would be used to.
Well, we just don't pickle cucumbers.
Well, no, but it's like you guys do you not like pickle things for like a day or two?
Well, yes, you pickle things for a lot longer than a day. But we pickle eggs.
Mm-hmm. Which are delicious.
I don't like them. Pickle onions.
Those are good.
Don't like them.
What do you like pickled? Don't say chips.
Branston pickle. It's a Branston pickle. Imagine it like a jam, but it's like a brown, thick molasses. It's very sweet, but it has I think it has zucchini, onion, and like some other sort of vegetable stuff in it. Sweet potato, whatever.
Okay.
And it's pickled for a long time, and it's
very nice
with strong old cheddar because it has such a bitter tang. And you've got the Branston pickle to get in up. No, that's not. I wanted to just make a really good clap. Get in there and just. It's so good, but you can't get it anywhere here, and
we can just make our own, man.
We could.
Let's do that soon.
Yeah. But that's not a video game.
No.
You know what is a video game?
That's a kitchen simulator. I can guess what you're gonna say, and my facial reaction will determine if I was right or not. You gonna say it?
Resident Evil 7.
Yeah, I knew that was what you were gonna say.
Well, I didn't know if you wanted me to say the next one.
Well, I was gonna act the same way regardless.
Okay, good. I'm very excited for this game.
Yeah,
I like the Resident Evil series, but I think they have gone a little off course with. Umbrella Corps isn't really a video game at all. It's a pile of putrid muck.
Tell me how you feel about Operation Raccoon City.
I don't want to. Resident Evil 6 is bollocks as well, though. Bad.
I enjoyed what little I played of it.
Did because you play just Mercenaries?
No,
That was fun.
Yeah, I played the regular PC edition. Just very little, cooperatively, just as a silly, something fun to do in order to unlock Mercenaries.
Right.
Really.
I don't think Resident Evil 5 is nearly as bad as people give it credit for. I actually think it's a fun game because it still had at least some survival elements, but the survival elements aren't really what makes the games good. It's just if they're actually fun to play.
That's the same with every video game.
Yeah, but with this one, I mean, it is obviously taken some beats from the now, forever lost PT Silent Hills. First person reimagining of a horror franchise. Like, come on, it's obviously taken some beats from PT. But we haven't seen any combat yet. They've said, don't worry, there's going to be a ton of combat in the game.
I don't want there to be a ton, though,
Neither do I, and I don't get why people are freaking out saying, like, well, it's not. I'm not playing it, there's no combat. It's like, well, sure, like, Resident Evil always had combat, but it doesn't, like... I don't think about the combat as I think about the tension of running away from hordes of enemies in the most recent ones anyway. The other ones I think about the claustrophobia and thinking like, oh shit, like I've got no ammo and I have to try and bob and weave past this enemy to get to the door, and you're gonna have that in first person now. And
first person is really gonna work for that.
Yeah. What's crazy is with Beginning Hour, the demo they put out, which is great. I think it's still on PSN, so if you haven't tried it yet, you should definitely try it. It's cool. Beginning Hour, there's never a threat to you. Like you're never in danger, really. It's just the peril of this house and like the noises that you hear that are so terrifying.
Just designed to unnerve you.
Yeah. The Gamescom demo looked fantastic. They called it The Lantern, and basically
short and sweet.
Yeah, they've said that the character you play in Beginning Hour isn't the character you play in the final game, and then in this demo. The character avatar is a woman. I don't know who it is, but she's talking to, I believe, the character from Beginning Hour through a camera, or she's making a recording, and you hear her say, like, I can't let her catch me again, and then you see just this lantern light and this old woman just kind of walking, and that's the thing that terrifies me most. It's not like your Outlast or your Amnesia where it's a thing running after you. It's not like your conventional Resident Evils where it's a bunch of zombies running at you. It's just this fucking old woman with like the only light source just walking along, and that to me is terrifying. That actually made me jump a little bit. So and then she moves through the level. It shows a little bit of stealth. She's hiding and looks terrifying overall. But I feel like, you know, despite it getting a lot of attention, which I know it did get a lot of attention, but I still feel like it's kind of slipped past a lot.
Well, yeah, it's one of those things that as soon as you see it, you're like, oh man, this is great. And then the next day you're like, what were we talking about again?
Right.
Which is kind of cool because if it stays under the radar and we don't get too much gameplay, because that's something that you want to, it's probably going to be a one and done. Might not just because of the sheer length of it.
Right.
And also the DLC season pass potential for something like that is right there because we've seen what looks to be a couple characters.
Yeah.
And that would be really cool.
If that's one thing you could take away from Resident Evil 6 as a positive, it's the potential of having an interwoven story with multiple characters. Don't just give me a character that has to like slog back and forth a million times. Just give me a story that has linearity to it, but then, you know, you're another character who was in another building across the street or something, and they've talked about how a big part of the game takes place in just a single mansion like the original Resident Evil, and that I think sounds great too. I'm interested to learn more about it, but coming back to what you said about not getting too much, it's so soon. It's January 11th or something like that. It's coming out.
That's a great game to release in January too.
Yeah, there's nothing for it to worry about like competitive wise, and Resident Evil's a big name. And it hasn't been around for a few years now, so it's time. Yeah, definitely.
The only thing that really stands out to me right now is VR. VR advantage, yes or no?
Disadvantage.
Yeah.
First of all, and I've written about this, and you can read about it on the GameMates blog, how I feel about the VR. I think it's a great concept. Do I think that... excuse me. Do I think anything announced for the first 6 months of it are killer apps? Nope. Because Resident Evil 7, I don't think will gain anything from being a VR game. It's still going to be just as terrifying to play it with the couch pulled around so you're dead center on the TV, lights off, you know, with a couple of friends. That experience to me will be just as terrifying as sitting alone in just a darker like heads, because I just get nervous about that. The idea of like my cat touching my leg or something when I'm in that, I will throw up. Like I don't think I could handle that.
That added level of claustrophobia sounds very appealing to me.
I like the idea of it, but I think it all comes back to the like $60 game, $70 game, whatever it is, $700 headset, peripheral. You can assume 12-hour game, and I'm just like, and it'll be a thing that you can say to your parents, like your mum and dad come over. It's like, oh, try this for like 5 minutes until they're like, fuck this.
But don't you want to do the Death Star trench run? We got to convince somebody that we know to pay their money on it so that we can try this stuff.
I'll start a Kickstarter for that.
Yeah.
I'm still, if the PSVR, because everyone's pretty much beating the drum for it right now. If within a month of it coming, because I've already kind of started putting money aside for one, but I'm like, if nothing, it'll just be video game. Like I'll just put it towards something else. It doesn't matter. Like it's money that's there that I can buy a VR with should push come to shove. But I would definitely get one from somewhere where I could return it after I've opened it if I decide I don't want it, because I just feel like I just worry it's not going to receive the support it needs. But we're kind of moving.
I don't think it will on anything but Neo. But like you said, we're getting distracted. Let's talk about boobs in the form of agony.
I don't know what kind of boobs you've been dealing with, but they're not supposed to be agony.
Oh, I mean the ones in agony.
Oh,
yeah, you know, the video game. Yeah,
gotcha.
Terrifying, gripping atmosphere. That as soon as I saw these little titties running around, I just was taken out of the video footage. I don't know how that affected you. But
should we give some context to why we're talking about boobs?
yes, but I wanted to just do it for a little bit more. But I guess we'll do it your way. Picture a dark room. You can hear the sound of somebody clearly terrified out of their brain.
The screams of 1,000 dying, punished souls. Bones crunch beneath your feet as you...
Every single step.
Slowly creep forward, a dim torch in your hand. Chittering amongst the walls, and a howling breeze cuts through the hallways, and you hear this shrill, clicking, screeching sound, and crunching grows louder coming your way. So you throw the torch away and step back into the darkness, and some creature steps into the light, and you see this gruesome pair of bloodied horns and a distorted face, and the arms and claws and these legs and these hooves, and then, oh, okay, great, this perfectly sculpted pair of breasts and a perfectly sculpted bottom. Everything else is like fucking Hellspawn, but she got the booty. She got the boobies.
Booty had me like...
Literally.
Like, literally,
it's
I'm
just
afraid of that ass.
distasteful. I don't like it.
It stands out in... just an artistic way, more than anything else. Everything else was grim and haunting and scary and, like, wretched.
Yeah.
And then these are just, like...
I've said, if you can look down and you see you've got arms that are all gross and everything, but then you've just got this, like, immaculately sculpted dick. And it's massive.
What if it's tiny?
That'd be even funnier. Has to be one or the other. Or they've got this thing where, like,
time for average.
Maybe they'll have a thing like in Metal Gear Solid 2 where, like, Raiden just runs around with his hands on it. So, like, as you look down, you see your character just go
every time.
You're in combat, like, fighting, and then just, like, looking down.
And then you walk in front of a mirror. What do you see?
Nothing. I don't know. I love that indie developers have access to things like Unity.
They
4.
do have assets in their games now.
Yeah.
Booty had me like.
It's just like, I'm like, if you're creating this, you like, it's either A, you have no female presence on your team, and you're an all-male creative audience, or B, you're creating that as a maybe diverse studio exclusively for the male gaze. Like, they're not thinking about a diverse audience. They're thinking, oh, this is a design that will, like,
lowest common denominator.
Just get, and like, what do people do? Like, all the trailers I've seen for it, the YouTube thumbnails have just been that.
Yeah,
with the tits and then a fucking black bar across them. And it's like, get fucked. Like, it looks shit. And, like, I love Witcher. We were talking about this earlier. I love Witcher 3. It's one of my favourite games of last year. But I still give it flack for the portrayal, like, some of the designs for its sort of female monsters. Like, you got the harpies and the water hags, but then a lot of them, like, they're just grotesque, and, like, it's not, like, perfect in any way. Like, they're these moldy, rotten body things coming after you. So, more forgivable, but still critiquable. And then you got Agony, and this just looks like, I don't know, I don't like it. I hope it's a cool game.
I do too.
But
I really do. When a body part stands out like a sore thumb.
Yeah.
You get it? Yeah.
It would be funny if, like, you hear the enemy coming towards you and you turn and look at them and they don't know where you are, but they just go. There needs to be a mod that does that.
If a body part is what stands out the most for your demo, well, A, congratulations on the controversy that we're creating, but I don't see much of anywhere else.
I don't see anyone talking, but it's probably because it's a game that doesn't matter, and it will never matter.
No.
I'm sure that when it does get its time in the sun, it'll be like that game Hatred, that everyone's just like, great, it's getting attention because it's about a guy just massacring people in their homes. Gets bad reviews, and then no one gives a shit about it ever again.
But it's really too bad because this one's trying to be something different.
It looks
like a different take on a genre that is not being beaten to death by any stretch, but being
close.
Like it's there.
Yeah,
there's a lot of those horror games out right now.
It's another first person. Like and I always love like following Jim Sterling on Twitter or YouTube. Whenever he does his Greenlight best of Greenlight or early access, he calls them squirty plays, when he does like an early access demo from Steam, and it'll be like, oh, you won't believe it, it's a first person horror game on Steam, like never seen one of those before, like, so
yeah, fingers crossed on you, Agony, but tits out for the boys is not what I want in a video game. I think that's it.
That's
episode 2, right?
I apologize for getting my phone out there. I was going to finish that text in our last episode. That was 2 days ago, Duncan.
Fuck, man. I bet I got a lot of missed calls from work.
Yeah. Yeah, I was supposed to work
both days.
Yeah. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Let us know what you think of the games we mentioned there. If you haven't seen the trailers for them, check out the trailers for Little Nightmares, the new trailer for Resident Evil 7 if you can stomach it, because it is bloody terrifying. And for what it's worth, check out Agony. Like we said, I don't want to be like that person, but I think it's shitty design, and I think at its core seems like a really cool concept for a horror game. So let us know what you think in the comments below. Subscribe if you want to see more. Check out our other content. Episode 6.1 has already been uploaded, so if you haven't seen that already, go check that out. And leave us a like if you like this video. Leave us a dislike if you didn't.
Yeah. Let us know.
And we will see you all when we see you next.